The state of Florida is about to deliver one of the most epic beatdowns to the federal government it has ever received in our nation's history. There is a story out now they are trying to keep hidden. There's been a court ruling that is going to open the floodgates, and once it does, a certain series of events is going to begin, and it won't be able to be stopped, not by anyone. And I've warned of this for a very long time. Earlier today, our governor was speaking at a police station talking about the bonuses that we are giving to every sworn law enforcement officer, EMT, firefighter, paramedic in the state. By the end of the year, we are going to have a $10 billion, that's right, with a B, $10 billion budget surplus. That's how well things are going in the state of Florida. Now, he also talks about a lawsuit that we have against the CDC, and I'm going to allow him to speak here to explain this, about why we are pursuing this and why it is a virtual certainty now that the state of Florida is going to win. So without any further delay, let's listen to the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis.
We also want our cruise lines to open. The CDC has mothballed this for over a year. They said that it was going to be 2 weeks last March. And you know, the cruise industry was very much, they wanted to do the right thing. So they're like, all right, it's not going to be easy for us, but we're going to do it. Now here we are over a year later, and there's no end in sight. Now they say you can only cruise if you have 98% people show proof of vaccination, but that's ridiculous. They're cruising in other parts of the country, of the world, where they don't even have availability of vaccines yet, where they have much higher COVID than in the United States. And oh, by the way, if you don't let them sail from Florida, which is one of our major industries, they're going to sail from the Bahamas. You're going to have the same people in Florida, or that would come to Florida, instead of spending money in our restaurants and staying in our hotels and doing all that, they're going to fly to the Bahamas or some of these other islands in the Caribbean. They're going to get on the same ship. They're going to engage in the exact same behavior, and then they're going to fly back to Michigan or Pennsylvania or wherever, having basically just ignored Florida. So that is fundamentally unfair. It makes no sense, and we are suing the CDC right now. We have a hearing coming up in federal court, but I can tell you, I want the cruises going. I want the cruise ships going. I think it's vital for our economy. There's tens of thousands of folks that are impacted by this industry. When we announced the lawsuit in Miami, I'll never forget it. We had a bunch of folks behind me, kind of like this, but they were all people who worked in the industry, and not just work for the cruise lines. You have all these smaller businesses that...
Okay, that's basically the idea. We have a lawsuit in federal court. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, Florida Maquis, how do you know how it's going to turn out? They could throw it out. Well, guess what?
This industry, and one...
Sorry about that. There's an article out now that gives us an insight. Federal judge throws out CDC nationwide eviction moratorium, says agency has no legal authority for it. That's right. A federal judge has just ruled that the CDC does not have the authority to stop landlords from throwing people out for not paying their rent. So if they don't have the authority to do that, they sure as hell don't have the authority to close down ports. That's an entirely different thing. If they have no legal authority, as ruled now by a federal judge, and I'll give you a link to this article, there's no way they can also say they have the authority to close ports. This is a slam dunk. It's over. Now, who remembers this image that I've used from other videos? I've said, in the North, it's coming. I've begged. I've pleaded. I've cajoled. I have tried to incentivize people to get out of the North, because this is what's going to happen when tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people lose their places to live. It is going to fall apart, and it is going to fall apart quickly, and there are only going to be a few choices for making money to pay your rent. Guys, upper left. Ladies, lower left. And I'll leave it to your imagination to figure out what those images mean. It's going to get real serious real fast. Because this is what they have been used to for the last year. Oh, don't worry. Government will just send us another check. Government will just send us another check. They aren't sending any more checks. This has all moved way, way, way faster than the Biden administration thought. They were under this delusion that their supporters really, really wanted to go back to work and really wanted to have a good job. No, they didn't. That's why a man named Andrew Yang was saying we need to give everybody universal basic income because people aren't going to work. And when people aren't going to work, things are going to fall apart. I'm not saying that was a good idea, but at least he understood the reality. It is about to collapse in the North. It's not going to be a political decision. It's not going to be an idea that's, I kind of think I'm like this, or, maybe I should believe this, or I don't know what to believe. It's going to be a matter of feeding yourself, feeding your family. Because the businesses have left. And they ain't coming back. Because it's prohibitive for them because of the insurance, because of BLM and the threat of riot. Anytime any little thing happens that somebody gets video of and they put online, they're going to go burn everything down again. Why would you ever have a business in a place like that? You couldn't afford the insurance. When there's an option, move south. And that's why we have in Florida this year predicted to be a $10 billion surplus in our budget. A $10 billion surplus, not total $10 billion. Our budget, annual budget, state of Florida is right around $95, $100 billion. So we have $10 billion over and above. To give you an example of the difference, the entire state budget for the state of Indiana is somewhere around 2.5 or 3, last time I checked. That's how much more powerful Florida is than Indiana. Nothing against people of Indiana. It's just a small state without the ability to throw a punch financially. To give you an idea, this is what $1 billion looks like. 10 pallets. Now multiply this by 10. 100 pallets of bills. This is what's coming. And the federal government is not going to be able to do a dang thing about it. Not one thing. Because they're cash strapped too. And we aren't. And they need revenue badly. So the nicer they make it for Florida, the nicer we make it for them. That's why you haven't heard President Biden or Harris or any one of them say bupkis. Not one thing about Governor DeSantis. Because they operate at our pleasure. I know that's a big statement, but the federal government operates at the pleasure of states like Florida and Texas. We have a lot more power than what they would want us to believe, and we're getting ready to put on a clinic. So pop some popcorn and get ready for the show, kids, because it's going to get ugly. They're either going to give us our cruises back, which a federal judge has already hinted that's the case, or we're going to make sure that Mr. Biden and Mr. Carter have a lot more in common than just a photo opportunity. They'll be one-termers. And then what happens after that, guys? I've said before, and I'll say it again, we are on the cusp of one of the greatest conservative resurgences in values in our history. People aren't seeing it. People are, oh, woe is me, oh, China, oh, Biden, oh, Harris, oh, no. Guys, they know what's coming. They know what's coming, and they're trying to do as much as they can in a very short amount of time. But it ain't getting done. Federal judge, CDC, has no authority to do what it's done. God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.